Welcome back, everyone. Today we're making a convertible crossbody bag that you can wear as a crossbody bag or a sling bag. It measures in at 6.5 by 9.5 with a 2.5 inch depth, making it the perfect size for all your daily essentials. It's also super easy to make, so if you are new to sewing, you should have no problem following the easy step-by-step tutorial. With all that being said, grab the printable pattern and let's get started. Getting started supplies, you need a half yard for your main fabric, and I recommend using a canvas, denim, or twill. These are all very durable fabrics and they're easy to work with. I'm actually going to be using an upholstery fabric. These are on the more difficult side to use. The weave of the fabric can be a little bit loose, so once you cut the material, it can start unraveling along the edges, and when you're sewing around the corners, it can pull the fabric and cause it to be offset. So if you do choose to use an upholstery fabric, just keep that in mind. You may need to make adjustments to your machine to work with your fabric. But like always, get creative with it, test different fabrics, and find something that's going to work for you. You'll need a half yard for your secondary fabric, and this is going to be used for the lining on the inside of the bag, so you'll want this to be very lightweight. I'm going to be using a nylon. It's thin, it's durable, and it's very easy to work with. Plus, at the end, when you sew everything together, the edges aren't too thick and it's very easy to apply the bias tape. You'll need two zippers, one 15-inch and one 10-inch. These don't have to be exact sizes, they just have to be longer than the widths of the panel because we're going to be trimming the ends in later steps. So if you find a 16 or 18-inch zipper that works with your fabric, you can totally use that. You'll need 2 yards of 1.5 inch width webbing. This is going to be used for the primary strap. You can actually go smaller than 1.5 inches, but I wouldn't go any bigger. In the hardware going along with that webbing, you'll need 4 D-rings, 1 strap slider, and 2 lobster clasps. You can get these in any finish or style. You just want to make sure they're 1.5 inch width to match your 1.5 inch width webbing. Now, if you do choose to change the size of your webbing, just make sure you match the width of your hardware to the width of your webbing. Lastly, you'll need your pattern. This pattern is available at properfitclothing.com. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is download it, print it off, tape together, and you're ready to go. And before you tape your pattern together, the best thing to do is cut off the top and one of the side edges. This is going to allow you to overlap the pages for a perfectly aligned pattern. And once you have all your supplies gathered and your pattern printed out, it's time to move into cutting.
And after cutting out your pattern, it should look like this. Be sure to check your printer alignment for the best possible results. And from here, we're going to cut on the outside of the black line. And once you cut out all the fabric, you want to end up with 4 strap panels, all cut out of your main fabric, 1 front pocket top lining panel cut out of your secondary fabric, 1 front pocket bottom lining panel cut out of your secondary fabric, 1 front pocket top panel cut out of your main fabric, 1 front pocket bottom panel cut out of your main fabric, 2 zipper side panels, 1 cut out of your secondary fabric and 1 cut out of your main fabric, 2 side panels, 1 cut out of your secondary fabric and 1 cut out of your main fabric, 2 back cover panels, 1 cut out of your secondary fabric and 1 cut out of your main fabric, and lastly 3 main back panels, 2 cut out of your secondary fabric and 1 cut out of your main fabric. And moving on to assembly, the first thing we're going to do is grab the strap panels, separate each of the panels with right sides facing up. Using the pattern, locate the webbing placement guide along the top edge, and this is where we're going to be placing the webbing. So what you'll need to do is cut 2 4-inch strips of 1.5 inch width webbing, and going along with that webbing, you'll need 2 D-rings. Feed the webbing to the D-ring with equal parts of webbing on both sides and place it on the placement area. Make sure it's directly in the center of the panel and about a 1/2 inch hanging off the top edge. This will ensure it locks down the webbing and won't rip out over time. Now we're going to grab the other strap panels and place them on top with right sides together. Line up the outside edges, place a few pins, take it to your sewing machine and stitch around the outside edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, leaving the bottom edge unstitched. And I like to sew through the corners at the top. This is going to ensure a perfectly square edge after we flip the right sides out. Now if you are using a thicker fabric, I do recommend trimming the bulk in the corners. It can kind of bunch up and create a rounded corner. But you can always flip the right sides out and check to see how it looks before trimming the bulk first. If it looks rounded and bunchy, you can always flip the wrong sides back out and reduce the bulk. What we want to do next is line up the 2 panels perfectly and add a top stitch around the outside edge. And I'll be placing my top stitch about a 1/4 inch away from that outside edge. Another trick is matching your thread color to your fabric color to hide any of the small imperfections. If you are using a very loosely woven fabric, I do recommend adding a box stitch or an X stitch near the top of the panel where the webbing intersects the fabric. This will add extra strength and also prevent that webbing from ripping out of the fabric over time. But anyways, that's going to complete the strap panel, so now we can grab the main back panels. Separate the 2 fabrics with right sides facing up. For this step, we only need 1 of each fabric, so we can place 1 of the secondary panels off to the side. Then place the wrong sides together for the remaining 2 panels. Make sure the outside edges are perfectly lined up and place a few pins. Place the pattern over top and locate the strap panel placement guides. There's 1 at the top and 1 along each side. Now in this step, you have to choose which side you want your bottom strap to connect to. There's no right way to do it. It really comes down to preference on how you wear your bag. The best thing to do is to match a bag that you already have. But if you really can't decide, you can always make one more strap panel and add it to both sides. That way you have both configurations, and don't worry, you can always hide it after we put the back cover on. I'll be placing mine along the left side, so line up both of your strap panels in the placement guide areas, and make sure the strap panel is hanging past the edge about 1/4 inch. With both panels in position, we can take to our sewing machine and stitch right along the edge as close as we can to the edge. After sewing, double check to make sure the straps are nice and secured down. If everything is looking good, we can move on to the next step, and that's going to be making the cover panel. So grab both of the back cover panels, separate the two layers with right sides facing up. Then we're going to place the right side together and lay it directly on top of the main back panel. On my pattern and fabric, I cut out both of the side notches. You actually don't have to do this. You only have to cut out the side notch that you sewed the strap panel to. For example, if you sewed your strap panel on the left, then you only have to cut out the left notch. For the video, I'm going to leave it just like this and have both notches cut out. It's just going to make an opening on the other side, and you can actually use it for a pocket. So if you already have both notches cut out, it's not that big of a deal. Now that we have that figured out and the right sides are together, make sure the outside edges are perfectly lined up and place a few pins. We're not going to be sewing all the way around the outside edges because we want to flip the right sides back out. We're just going to be sewing around the notches at 1/4 inch seam allowance. And with each stitch, we're going to be starting at the outside edge and ending at the outside edge as well. Take your time and try to make this stitch as neat as possible. And as you can see, we sewed right up to the edge with each one of the notches. Now we can flip the right sides out and line up the secondary and main fabric along the outside edges. It can be fairly tricky around those corners, so you're definitely going to want to place pins once you get it pushed out. Once you have the two fabrics aligned along the outside edge and the corners are looking good, take it to your sewing machine and add a top stitch along each one of the notches. And I place this top stitch about 1/4 inch away from the outside edge. If done correctly, you should have nice square edges on each one of those openings. And depending on what style of fabric you're using, it can be fairly tricky, so you may have to de-thread and try again. But anyways, moving on, now we can grab the main back assembly. And what we're going to do is place the complete cover panel directly on top of the main assembly with right sides facing up. If done correctly, the notches should be wide enough to fit the strap panels through. And as you can see, I have an opening on my right side. That's totally fine. It's just going to be an opening. It's not going to cause any problems. And I can actually utilize it as a small pocket. So if you chose to add all the notches, it's totally going to turn out fine. Now that we have both the cover panel and the main panel lined up, we're going to add a stitch all the way around the outside edge. Stitch as close as you can to the outside edge, and this is going to consolidate all those layers into one. Once you finished up, you can now see that this is a nice pocket to tuck away your strap panels and convert it into a crossbody bag. If you wanted to really customize it, you can reduce the width of the notches, or you can make them even bigger. As long as they're wide enough for the strap panel to fit through, you're good to go. This entire assembly will become our back panel assembly. It's totally complete, and for the moment, we can place it off to the side. And cut a 1.5 yard strip of 1.5 inch width webbing. Now there's a ton of different ways you can make the strap. I'm going to be making mine out of webbing, and keep in mind if this looks too long, you can always trim it down in later steps. Along with your strap, you'll need hardware. You'll need 2 lobster clasps and 1 strap slider. Start by feeding the strap adjuster on, add 1 lobster clasp, pull some slack out of the center of the strap slider, feed the webbing end back through the bottom end of the strap slider, roll the webbing end over twice and pin it down. Add the second lobster clasp to the opposite side, roll the webbing end over twice and add a pin. Once you have both sides pinned down, we're going to take it to the sewing machine and add a tack stitch over both rolled edges. I do recommend going back and forth a few times to really lock those layers together so it doesn't rip out over time. As you can see, the strap is on the bigger side, but it's very easy to adjust. All you have to do is on the side with the 1 lobster clasp, de-thread that, trim it down, and re-stitch. But keep in mind you want this to fit as a crossbody bag and also a sling bag, so you do want the strap to be a little bit bigger. But anyways, the strap is complete, so for the moment we can place it off to the side. And grab the front pocket top lining panel and also the front pocket top panel. Along with the panels, you need your 10-inch zipper, and remember this doesn't have to be exactly 10 inches, it just has to be longer than the width of the panels because we will be trimming the ends. Using the pattern, locate the zipper edge, and this is going to be where we place the zipper. So place the wrong side of the zipper to the right side of the secondary fabric and the right side of the main fabric to the right side of the zipper. Line up the 2 panels along the outside edge, place a few pins, and then we're going to stitch just the zipper edge at 1/4 inch seam allowance. And it's very important you sew at exactly 1/4 inch seam allowance, or else once you sew both the sides onto the zipper, the circumference around the outside edge won't line up with the side panel and you're going to get offset panels. So it's best to double check that before moving on. Now we can flip the wrong side together and line up the outside edges. Remember the top panel is a little bit longer than the lining panel, so you'll want to use pins to keep the 2 panels lined up. The reason it's longer is so that it can partially cover the zipper. Next, we can grab the front pocket bottom lining panel along with the front pocket bottom panel. And just like in the previous step, using the pattern, locate the zipper edge, and this is going to be where we place the zipper. So place the wrong side of the zipper to the right side of the secondary fabric and the right side of the zipper to the right side of the main fabric. Line up the side edges of the 2 bottom panels along with the 2 top panels. Once you have all the panels lined up and centered, place a few pins, take it to your sewing machine, stitch along the zipper edge at 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like with the top panel, we want this bottom side to be exactly 1/4 inch, or else it's not not going to line up with the side panels in future steps. Now we can flip the wrong sides together and line up the outside edges. The main fabric will be longer than the secondary fabric, so place a few pins to keep them from shifting around. As you can see, the main fabric from the two sides folds over the zipper and partially covers it. This is exactly what we're looking for. In this next step, we're actually going to add a top stitch to both sides to really seal off the zipper. But before we do that, it's best to grab the main back panel, lay it over top, and see if it's the correct size. If done correctly, our new front pocket assembly should line up perfectly with the main back panel. If it's off a little bit, you can always trim the bottom or top edge. The other solution is to de-thread from the zipper and re-sew out a 1/4 inch seam allowance. But anyways, if it's looking good, what we're going to do next is add a top stitch on both sides of the zipper. And I'm trying to place this top stitch directly on top of the zipper fabric. It can be a little bit difficult to get it perfect, but if it looks good to you, then it's good to go. And it doesn't have to be exactly on the zipper, anywhere close is fine. We mainly just want to lock down those folds so it stays covering the zipper. At this point, if you cut your zipper from a zipper roll, you're going to want to add the zipper train. Now we can grab the remaining back panel and you should have one cut out of your secondary fabric. Place it on the back side of the front pocket assembly with wrong sides facing up. Line up the top, bottom, and side edges, place a few pins so the layers don't shift around, and then we're going to stitch around the outside edge. I'm only stitching at the top, the sides, and the bottom. Again, we're stitching as close as we can to the outside edge, and this is primarily to consolidate the layers into one. You can totally sew all the way around the outside edge, corners and all, but really just doing the top, bottom, and sides in the middle area is good enough. This will now become our front pocket assembly, and for the moment it's complete, so we can place it off to the side. And grab the zipper side panels. You should have two, one cut out of your secondary fabric and one cut out of your main fabric. Separate the two layers with right sides facing up. Along with the panels, grab your remaining 15-inch zipper. And again, this doesn't have to be exactly 15 inches, it just has to be longer than the width of the panels because we will be trimming the ends. Using the pattern, locate the zipper edge, and this is going to be where we place the zipper. So place the wrong side of the zipper to the right side of the secondary fabric and the right side of the zipper to the right side of the main fabric. Line up the side edges and the zipper, place a few pins, and stitch just the zipper edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And just like the previous steps, you want to be very accurate with the 1/4 inch seam allowance or else the width of this assembly will not match the side panel in future steps. Once you're happy with the stitch, flip the wrong sides together, line up the side and top edges, and place a few pins. Both the main and secondary fabric should line up perfectly, then we're going to take it to the sewing machine and add a top stitch along the zipper edge. After sewing, double check both sides, make sure everything is looking good, and if everything checks out, cut two 4-inch strips of 1.5 inch width webbing and grab 2 D-rings. We're essentially doing the same thing we did in previous steps when we made the strap panels. Feed the webbing through the D-rings with equal parts of webbing on both sides of the D-ring. Before moving on, if you did cut your zipper from a zipper roll, add your zipper train at this point. Then we're going to take the webbing and D-ring strips and place them along the side edges. And we're placing them directly in the center of the new zipper assembly. Place a few pins so the webbing strips don't move around, and then we're going to grab the side panel. You should have one cut out of your secondary fabric and one cut out of your main fabric. And what we're going to do is take that side panel and place the right side of the main fabric to the right side of the zipper assembly, lining up the side edge. If the zipper assembly was sewn correctly, then it should be the same exact width as the side panel. Now if it's off just a little bit, that's totally fine. You can trim the side panel to match the zipper assembly. Next, we're going to take the secondary fabric, place it on the opposite side of the zipper assembly with right sides together. Pin that one side and then line up the opposite end of the side panel with the opposite end of the zipper assembly. And before you start sewing, remember you want that webbing hanging past the edge about 1/2 inch. Then go ahead and take it to your sewing machine and stitch each side at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like in previous steps, you want to be very accurate with the 1/4 inch seam allowance or else the circumference of this loop is not going to match the circumference of the outside of the front or back panel. So you'll definitely want to double check that before moving on. Once you're satisfied, we're going to trim the webbing and zipper ends flush with the seam allowance. Flip the right sides out, and for this next step, we're going to add a top stitch to our new seams. I find the best way to do this is to pull the side panel away from the zipper assembly. This is going to even everything out. Place a pin because we don't want that side panel bunching up over onto the zipper assembly or else it's going to change its circumference. Then take it to your sewing machine and add your top stitch. This top stitch can get pretty bulky because you're going over the webbing and extra material, so use a heavyweight needle and go slow. But other than that, the full side panel assembly is complete. Now I do want to quickly mention, if you're only making the sling bag, then you don't have to add the webbing and D-rings to the side panel. These are primarily to convert it to a crossbody bag, and vice versa with the crossbody bag. If you don't want to make the sling bag, you don't need to add the straps or the back cover. But anyways, now that we have the full side panel assembly complete, we can grab the front pocket assembly. We'll be attaching the front pocket assembly to the side panel assembly, and you want to mark the centers on both the front panel and the side assembly. And for this step, we're going to be lining up the zipper edge with the front pocket assembly. And the zipper from the side panel will line up at the top edge of the front pocket assembly. So place the right side together, lining up the outside edge, and if everything was done correctly, then the side panel assembly should match perfectly with the front pocket assembly. Once you have them perfectly lined up, place a ton of pins, and then take it to your sewing machine and stitch all the way around the outside edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. After sewing, it's best to check all the layers from the wrong side and the right side just to make sure everything got stitched together, because you can always go back and spot stitch. Sometimes a little piece of the secondary or main fabric layer gets out of the stitch, and it's really easy to de-thread that little area and just add a stitch. This happens all the time, and it's so much easier to fix a small spot than to restitch the whole edge. Moving right along, grab the back assembly, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side of the side panel assembly. Make sure the top strap from the back panel assembly is pointing towards the top of the bag. Place the right sides together. Add a ton of pins so the layers don't shift around, and stitch all the way around the outside edge at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just like in the previous step, double check all the layers, make sure everything got stitched together perfectly. I also like to quickly flip the right side out and double check all the corners because you can always go back and restitch the corners to make them really pop. The corners are the hardest to get perfect, but it really just takes practice, time, and repetition. Next, we're going to clean up the zipper ends, so trim them flush with the seam allowance, and anything else that's protruding past the seam allowance. Because this next step, we're going to be adding double fold bias tape to clean up the raw edge, so we want that edge perfectly clean. And I'm going to be showing you multiple ways to add the double fold bias tape, ranging from beginner to advanced. The first method is using a bias tape making kit. In this technique, you make your own double-sided bias tape to the size and fabric you want to use. All you do is cut your strips, feed it through your folder, and press it when it comes out the folder. It's very easy to do, and you get to customize the bias tape to your exact measurements. The second technique is using a double fold bias tape binder. This is the most efficient technique. You cut your strips, feed it through your binder, and sew it directly to your raw edge. And the last technique is using pre-made double fold bias tape. You are limited to colors, but it's very easy to use. You fold it over the edge and stitch it down. And you want to make sure you apply it all the way around the outside edge. And I'm using the bias tape attachment. This is a great way to go if you plan on making a lot of bags. It gives me perfect bias tape every time, and then I also get to match the fabric on the inside so it looks very nice. It not only looks good, but it also adds another level of security and strength. I also think it gives structure to the corner so it makes them perfectly round. And again, this is optional, but if you do plan on making and selling these bags, I highly recommend adding it. And from here, we can flip the right sides out. And as you can see, by adding the bias tape, the corners are nice and rounded. I also clipped the strap to the crossbody D-rings, and lastly, I added my branding. I used basic leather strips added with double-sided rivets, and I also used the same technique to make zipper pulls. These little details really go a long way and make your bag look professional. Before we wrap it up, I want to quickly walk you through the steps on converting the bag from crossbody to sling bag. Unclip from the D-rings, pull the straps out, and clip to the new D-rings. It's really that simple. You can convert back and forth super quick to change your style on the fly. Or if you just want to change up the way you carry the bag. I also want to quickly go over changing the scale of the bag. You can actually make it bigger or smaller by changing the pattern. The width is the easiest. You can actually change the width of the bag without changing any of the other panels. You can either increase or decrease the width of the side and zipper panel. But if you do want to change the size of the overall bag, the front and back assembly, then you do have to change the actual circumference of the side assembly. For example, if you make it bigger, then you're also going to have to add length to the side assembly. And the last way to customize it is changing up the closures. You can use any style of closures or buckles. Just make sure you add them in both areas. Other than that, your new convertible bag is complete. I hope you had some fun with the project and you made a bag that's unique to your style.
And there you have it, your new convertible crossbody bag is complete. And like I said in the video, you can actually make this as just a crossbody bag or just a sling bag. You don't have to make it as a convertible bag. I just like to make it that way because I like having 2-in-1 bags. It's just a great way to change it up quickly for a different style. And like always, I love to see what you come up with, so tag me on Instagram at Properfit Clothing. And until then, I'm gonna keep the videos coming at you, so I'll see you next time.